there was no internet back then.
Right.
There was no, I mean, there was no, you know, Web 2.0. But it was a makeshift focus group. I just heard about this recently, and it was like underground type of thing. Like, oh, you know about Star Wars, man? It's this really cool thing. You gotta go check it out. And it was spread virally from kid to kid.
Before it became
a movie. And then I found out it was only supposed to run for 6 weeks originally for the summer, and they would just throw it away. It was meant to just be played in drive-ins, and that was going to be the end of it. There was never talk about a sequel, although George Lucas actually had 9 movies in store in his mind, but he didn't have the funding or the support at the time. And then when things went bananas, of course, you know, he took it to every level he could, you know.
That is a great story.
But
I love that.
So you got to find out what your customers want, and I think let them steer the direction of where you want to go, and then the profits will follow. I've seen that time and time again.
That is a really great point. And the other point that you're making, which is very important for everybody out there to understand, you really, you know, as the business owner and where you sit, you have to have a third person. Maybe it's a publicity person or a public relations person, somebody like Ted, who is able to manage your brand and make sure that you are at least consistent, even if you're trying new and different things. Because you don't, the technology is so powerful with being out on the net, you don't want to make a misstep that's going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
You really have to preserve your reputation and your consistency of your work and your credibility. And I think it's such a powerful tool, being out there on the internet, that you need somebody to constantly be watching those kinds of things and making sure that you're not doing any damage, you know, making sure you're protecting your damage control, really, right? And you need a public relations professional to understand what is in alignment with you and what could go against you, what is a potential skeleton that can come up with your copy, with your video, with what you're saying. These are all so important, and I think that's what's exciting about like PR 2.0, is that you are able to bridge what were those skills of public relations professionals to make sure that your product or service was out there in a very positive, goodwill, honest way that was pro-people. And now, since you have the web, we have to manage that kind of reputation and branding. Very important.
Yes, it's extremely important. And I think even just to have like one person in place, that's the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum. You know Motorola?
Yes.
They've got 4,200 blogs. 4,200 blogs.
Wow.
4,600 wiki pages.
That is just amazing.
They got a staff of 2,600 kids or students or people or employees around the world maintaining those blogs and wiki pages and building the global brand.
And that works for them because that results into major increased sales, new customers all the time. It kind of allows their generations of people, right, to keep growing with their products. So what they're doing is they're holding on to the youth early on and growing with them.
That's one company that really gets
so
it.
Interesting.
And there's not a lot of companies that do that, but that is one company who really understands how to harness the power of the web. And I mean, it's incredibly, it's critical, you know.
Well, okay, so the audience is out there. I know that you study a lot of this, and you know, I know it's just exploding, this whole industry of the web. It's still the wild west. We're still in the infant stages. Everybody says that. We are. I mean, these conversations will be so different in 3 months. They will, because of so many things that we'll learn. Not to say this will be outdated.
It won't be outdated, but it'll be enhanced.
It'll be enhanced. It really will, because we're still pioneering these concepts and what it's going to be. But really, of people that are on the internet right now, I mean, the main age group that are really staying there, I would think, would be, I mean, of course, the kids, the youth.
Right.
Okay? But now you got the 35 to 55-year-olds that are on there a lot now.
Yeah, they see that it's an important thing. They have to get. It's not just having one website anymore either. It's building an infrastructure of sites that support each other in such an artful way that they have top internet rankings. It's really amazing.
It is, and also, I mean, you don't want to, with your PR person or whoever, your expert, like yourself, you don't want to sanitize your website so much. If you're going to be getting honest feedback, you want to be able to look at it, I would imagine, confront it, and then, you know, execute your plan, your strategy, your answer, your responses.
That's the whole thing. I mean, I get a lot of business owners that say, I don't want to look at my site, I don't want to know what goes on, just make it work. And I think that's a really dangerous position to put yourself in, because without knowing, you're basically giving the control of your company away.
You are.
You're delegating yourself out of business. And I think that's a dangerous position to put yourself in. I am so overprotective about my stuff. I don't let anybody touch it, because I don't let anybody go near it. I've had many offers. Hey,
Yes.
Ted, let me manage your stuff. No
Right.
way, man, because you're going to do it wrong. You're not going to follow my instructions, and I'm going to tank. And I've been #1 on Google for 2 years. Actually 2.5 years. I didn't pay a dime for that. I've got a lot of business off of that, and I'm the #1 SEO search engine optimization expert in Michigan. I'm up there. I don't need a whole staff of people, although I do have people that are very specific. I give them specific roles to do.
I think that's fascinating what you're saying around that. It is an absolute mistake for an entrepreneur or an executive at a company to not understand the culture that we're talking about and to just delegate it and say that they're not involved. This is really a crossroads for so many people, Ted, because you have all these business people that have relied on all the other skills of business, and internet technology not being one. They don't understand the culture of the internet world, or of the practitioner that's on the internet all the time. They're not thinking that way. So right now, they will be. But you're seeing, so they've got to come together. These people who are successful in the old model, let's say, and this is the new model, they have to understand this kind of culture. They don't get it.
Well, it's funny, because I don't mean to get too academic, folks, but I read tons of stuff, and Seth Godin's one of my favorite authors.
Oh yeah, he's
I don't mean to
great.
keep plugging him, but he's just one of my favorite guys. And he drew, I believe it was a Meatball Sunday.
Yes,
over,
that
you can
great
see
book.
right here, amazing book.
Yes.
And he talked about the old way of doing things. You might have 3 networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Okay, that's all you have. You got a bunch of people, you come up with a product, and the way you get them is you just blast them with broadcasting. And based on percentage, a percentage of those people will buy A, B, or C.
Right.
There's no other choice. Now you've got, you have like 900 networks on cable.
Yes.
I got satellite dish, I got dish, and I got satellite radio, and then I got, of course, websites I go to. You're bombarded with so many choices now. The best thing you can do is make a piece of media, blast out your favorite spots, and try to attract small pockets of people and get them to convert over to an email list or to your site. That's the only way you're going to really get them. And to believe in broadcasting or mass mailing or go for that 2% or 1% direct mail response is really spinning your wheels. You know how many people I got off of a 300 invitation for Art Explosion? We did, a good friend of mine did a 300-person invite for artists. We got like 25 people off of 300, which would never happen. It was like over 7% direct response, which would never happen in mail. Well, maybe if you're if you're like the Orange Beetle or somebody, but